Our sixth storyteller, Jennifer Yamashiro, was always drawn to community service. She grew up with a single mother and had a passion for helping others. But nobody knew that she struggled with depression herself throughout her life. She didn't want to burden those around her. She thought that it was how things were supposed to be. Then Jennifer was given the opportunity to play the role of Diana in the musical Next to Normal, and life changed forever. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jennifer Yamashiro.
Thank you. Well, as Gayatri said, I grew up in a fairly unstable household. My mom married and divorced 4 times. I changed schools every single year until I was in the 8th grade. And I spent much of my life feeling as though I was on the outside looking in. I had to help raise my sister and brother because my mom was either working or dating. And our dad chose his new life with his new wife and her daughter over us. I survived by hiding how I felt. I had to be strong for my sister and brother, and often my mother. I longed to be loved and accepted for who I was, but learned early on that people preferred the happy me over the real me. The one who struggled with depression and anxiety. I wasn't able to articulate that was what I was feeling as a child and a teenager, but I know now that that's what it was. I learned that my job was to hold everything together, and I couldn't do that if I was falling apart. Theater was my escape. It gave me a chance to crawl inside someone else's head. I could feel all of my feelings without having to really own them. They belonged to the character I was playing, and I became an expert at acting no matter what situation I was in. When my kids were in 5th and 3rd grade, my depression and anxiety were almost unbearable. After my then husband left for work, I would get my kids ready for school, and once everyone was gone, I would spend the day on the couch, unable to do anything. I lost interest in doing the things I loved most. I was directing a musical at the school with more than 60 kids, and I was the PTO president at the time, but nobody knew. I had become a master at hiding my bouts of depression, but this one was the worst. I had no interest in doing the things that I normally would do. I had no interest in doing the things that normally filled me up. I had taken a break from theater to spend more time with my kids, but not taking that time for myself and doing what filled my soul was hugely detrimental. I thought I had to give up everything that I loved to be a good mother. I didn't realize that taking time for myself was crucial to my own well-being. A good friend figured out what was going on, and she talked to me about it. She noticed that I had consistently been declining time with my friends, which was really weird for me because I love spending time with my friends. So I told her what was going on, and I felt so ashamed when I had to tell her I was struggling with depression. I was worried that she would think I wasn't worthy anymore. I was worried she would think I was crazy, but the opposite happened. She shared her struggles with me. She told me that she had been on antidepressants for some time. And she told me that many of our friends struggled with the same thing, but nobody wanted to talk about it. She encouraged me to talk to my doctor. And after seeing him, I went on a low-dose antidepressant and slowly started to claw my way out. I had given up performing to focus on my kids, but decided it was time for me to do the one thing that feeds my soul. And 6 months later, I was cast in a local production of Annie and worked with my doctor to start weaning myself off of the medication. We agreed I was ready. And then 2 years ago, I had the honor of being in a musical called Next to Normal. I played Diana, a woman who struggles with bipolar disorder. The story focuses not only on her struggles, but how it affects the people she loves when she was working to find the best path to healing. A local newspaper, the Oregonian, did a story focused on me and 2 of my cast members and our own struggles with anxiety and depression. The outpouring of support from my friends and family as a result of that story was overwhelming and humbling. There were so many people in my life who struggled with depression too. We just all kept that part of ourselves hidden away. When my youngest son was about 4 years old, he shut the car door on his finger, and he had a pretty deep cut and his fingernail came off. It felt better when it was covered with a Band-Aid, But there came a time when we had to take it off and expose it to the light. But it was so painful for him to have it exposed to the light like that at first. But being uncovered in the light is what started the healing process. We don't have to struggle with our pain alone in the darkness. My depression and anxiety are still a daily struggle. I can recognize the warning signs and triggers, and I have tools to help me get through in a healthy way. I have people in my life who love me and who ask me how I'm doing, expecting an honest answer. I serve on a community theater board of directors and try to perform in one show a year when there's time. When I feel my anxiety bubbling up, I stop and breathe. I also started running, which helps me give me opportunity to be with my thoughts and explore where I'm at emotionally. When I'm out on a run, I can take a temperature of where I'm at and how I'm feeling, and then try to find a solution and reach out to the people who love me the most to help have them hold me accountable and help me to deal with any issues that are bubbling up. So far, I haven't had to go back on my medication, but I know it might happen again, and I'm okay with that. I had spent so much time working so hard to convey a false image of perfection. I thought that's what was expected. I kept my struggles hidden because I was ashamed, and I assumed nobody else would understand. But once I exposed my pain to the light, my healing began. It was painful, and it wasn't easy. If you struggle with depression or anxiety, please don't keep it hidden. You aren't alone. Find someone you trust and share your struggles with them. You will most likely find that others in your life have very similar struggles. And if you are someone who a person confides in, please just love them where they're at. Listen to them, support them, encourage them to get help, and then follow up with them to make sure that that's what they're doing. So many struggle in silence and darkness. But as we continue to work together to remove the stigma that's associated with depression and anxiety, we will create a community that sees the strength in exposing depression and anxiety and pain to the light. Join me in helping to create a community that is a safe place for people to reach out for help. We can work together to ensure that no one will suffer alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. You're absolutely right. None of us need to struggle alone in the dark, and every one of us need to talk about our struggles so we can bring it into the light and begin the journey to healing. Depression is a leading cause of disability around the world. According to the World Health Organization, 350 million men, women, and children are struggling with depression, and many of them do not receive the care they need. Jennifer is a member of the ASHA Storytellers team, and she wants to help end the stigma surrounding depression and create a safe community where people can seek the help they need.